I never take for granted the gift of being able to learn from women who've lived boldly and wisely. Today, I'm thrilled to bring you Grannybelle. Heather Rickard is affectionately known as Grannybelle, and she's a wellness leader, runner, and grandmother who proves it's never too late to chase the big dreams. With more than 40 years in direct selling industry and a 100-kilometer ultramarathon completed at the age of 65, she inspires others to rise higher, one step at a time, and proves it's never too late to chase the big dreams. And what I love about this woman is not that long ago, like well and truly, she'll tell the story, but like really not that long ago, you were not a runner. And you've gone from runner to ultra marathon runner, and you're about to do 100-mile, not just 100K. I find that super inspiring and also a little bit insane at the same time, said with great respect. Anyway, Brittany Bell, you're here.
I'm here, and I wasn't Grannybelle when I actually first started running. It's Grannybelle's 7 years in. So yeah.
So you weren't a runner when I met you, and I've watched you go from couch to 5K and to 80K and then to 100K, and you just keep getting more Ks. And that's why I wanted to have you on because I'm not a runner. Running for me when I was in the army was punishment. And so that's the last thing in the world I want to do. However, and I know there's a lot of people who will listen to this who think I can't even run 5Ks. And that's why I want to know how you did that. So tell us first, from not runner to runner, what even inspired you to take the first step?
I think even I go back a little bit further than that to what inspired me. When I did Kilimanjaro. So Kilimanjaro was back when I was 53. So that was further back, and that really inspired me and made me realize that there was so much more, than sitting around and not exercising. I've never, Jen, I've never been in the past. I was never an exercise freak. I was thinking about this only yesterday. And when I was at school, I never participated in any sports or anything like that.
You went the
I
sporty
didn't.
girl.
No, I wasn't the sporty girl. I hated it. It was freezing cold in England, and I was out on the hockey court, hating it. You got hit with a hockey stick, and it hurt. And yeah, never. So when I did do a little bit of running when my kids were growing up, but when I decided to climb Kilimanjaro was when I really started on my weight loss and fitness journey, and that was huge. And then I think we cycle in and out of times when we really want to exercise and times when we don't, and there's times when you just can't get motivated to do it. And after Kilimanjaro, I didn't sort of continue on that journey. And then I started dropping a bit of weight and feeling a bit better in myself. And so then I started a little bit of running, but very casual. I remember running around my sister's village in England when we were visiting them. And I just, I do a loop and then I do another loop and just a little bit more. But it was very intermittent until I actually decided to start to make some steps and move down the track of getting to, as you say, 5K park run.
So before we go there, you climbed Kilimanjaro at 53. Why did you
Yeah.
climb Kilimanjaro at 53?
I climbed Kilimanjaro because I'd always believed that if you set yourself a goal and you really truly want to achieve it, that you will all the things will fall into place for you to achieve that goal. I've always believed that. I've even taught that, but I felt like I wasn't authentic because I'd never really done a freaking big one, like something really big. And
Yeah.
so when Kilimanjaro came across my desk, I was scared. And something told me that I had to push through and do that. And I asked everybody. I asked my husband.
You
You
asked
reminded me. I
me.
asked you.
Oh, no.
Uh, I asked my business partner at the time, and everybody said, no, 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 no. Young kids can't do it. This reason, that reason, all the reasons in the world. And I can remember distinctly sitting on my bed one day and reading the thing again and messaging Neil or ringing Neil and saying, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And I paid the deposit, and that was it. I was in. And then I got so scared because I really thought, what if I don't make it? And interestingly enough, I listened to a podcast of a friend of yours and mine, David Wood,
Yeah.
and he talked about being up Kilimanjaro and seeing someone dead on the track.
Mm.
And that I remember listening to that and going, holy crap, what have I done? And so, yeah, I made the step, but then I got scared, and then I decided that I really needed to train like crazy. And I did. I trained like crazy. I got myself, I dropped weight at that time, which I needed to. And I just, yeah, I loved the journey to it. And then I loved the achievement of standing on the top of that mountain and knowing I'd done it at 53. Yeah.
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 Super cool. All right. So you do Kilimanjaro, you come back and you kind of like, yeah,
Mm.
cruise into life again.
Yeah, I got into life. I can't even recollect exactly what I was doing, but I definitely didn't have a community to work with fitness wise.
Mm.
Maybe in and out of a gym or something like that, but there was nothing really that caught me. Well, the trekking caught me, but I didn't follow through on that. So I suppose that brings me to when I was in the UK and I was running around, the village, Alvingham, with my sister, not with my sister, on my own. And people used to wave at me and who's that girl? I would it was very slow and it was a very short circuit. But one of a girl I'd met at the time challenged me. She said, oh, no, she didn't challenge me. She was literally challenging herself to do a park run.
Right.
And she said to me, will you do a park run with me? And I was like, oh God, me? Like, so someone's looking at me as a runner, and I was just feeling like I was a jogger around the village. And I said, yeah, sure. I said, can you do this Saturday? And she said, no, next Saturday. And I quietly thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to take her to a park run when I've never done one myself.
So a
I need
park
to
run's
work.
5Ks, hey.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So I need to be, I just felt like I needed to experience it myself and I needed to step in and do it on my own. And I can remember I drove there on my own, parked up again. No one else wanted to come with me. Parked up, went and introduced myself to the people at the park run and did it. And I just looked up, that date. And can you believe it's actually literally 8 years ago to this week. Yeah.
Wow. 8 years ago, you did your first park run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I met an incredible community of people then. So, the advice I give to anybody is park run has a community that if you go to a park run anywhere in the world, there is always people to talk to. There's always other runners. The majority of them, I can't say all, but the majority of them have a coffee afterwards and they have a place that they all go. Especially the smaller ones. The bigger ones get a bit lost with that, but they have a place to go. And I went for coffee with them after that first one when I was on my own, and they started talking about half marathons. And I can remember thinking, oh, half marathon. No, I can actually remember physically saying to them, no, I could never do, I could never do a half marathon. They looked at me like, you've just done 5K. It's only 21.1. And so that's when I first got the little bit of a spark to do a half marathon.
Mm.
Yeah. It's just, but it was finding the community and finding the people who you can, talk to.
But you didn't have that. See, this is the thing. So I know there's women sitting at home listening to this who don't have a community of people to run to. And I know you say to go to park run.
Yeah.
How or where did you find it's courage to get your ass off and even run around the village, and also the courage to go to park run? How did you? What do you remember? What your mindset was like?
I can remember being really scared. So I actually still have a copy of the little video that I did outside that park run. I arrived there about an hour early. So it starts at 9 o'clock. I think I was there at 8. So I think it's just digging down deep inside to realize that you're going to be better off by doing it. So yeah, it's like asking someone to run with you or walk with you. You know, you'll get lots of people who'll say no, or they'll say yes, and then they'll ring you that morning or message you that morning and say, oh, sorry, it's raining, I'm not coming, or, you know, the kids are sick or whatever. And so it's a combination of having the courage to reach out to other people, and also knowing that you there's always someone there. And you know what? There's probably someone else who's hanging out to have a buddy who they can walk with or they can run with. And yeah, you just got to just stretch yourself. Have the courage, have it, because you know you're going to be able to help someone else. It's not only for yourself; it's for the person that you end up buddying up with and walking with or running with. But I think there's two parts to this. One is that sometimes you just got to do it on your own, and the other part is that yeah, it's a lot more fun if you can find buddies. And I found when I came back from my first half marathon in the UK, I actually found a running community and, you know, joined that running community and, you know, hung out with them, got up every morning, 5:30 in the morning, that kind of thing. It was amazing. But it's just taking that first step. Yeah. And knowing that it's going to be the person, your future self is going to thank you for it. That's it, really.
Which is leading into what I was about to ask you. However, before that, are people allowed to walk a park run?
So glad you asked that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So they actually now, in a lot of park runs, they have park walkers. So they have people who've got a shirt on that they're called a park walker. There's always a tail walker, and you know, it doesn't matter. Because one of the things that I believe is really important when you very first start wanting to run is be prepared to walk a lot. So you might walk 5 minutes and then you might run a 1 minute or even 30 seconds. I know one group who do 30 seconds, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1 minute, you know, whatever works for you. But be prepared to, you know, just to walk. And I don't say just walk, to walk. You're moving your body. Yep. And then just when you feel that urge, just a little bit and then stop. But a timer is a real golden thing to have, because otherwise we'll keep going till we're tired. Whereas it's better if you've actually got a routine in there. So if you've, you know, got a stopwatch or a timer or something like that, you can say, okay, for this one, I'm going to do 2 minutes walking, 1 minute running, or whatever works for you. But yeah.
Very cool. So how has this, confidence wise, things like that, how has it reshaped you, your, I don't want to say personality, but your way of being from when you were, think of life before Kilimanjaro and before running? How do you think that's reshaped you and your thoughts on aging?
Yeah. You just touched the nerve then, because I was thinking about then, and I was definitely overweight, unfit, unhealthy, and, you know, unhappy in myself. And I look at myself now inspiring my grandchildren. You know, they were doing their first ever run at school, and so I went with them, watched them. But before that, I did a few runs with one of them and his dad, and, you know, him trying to keep up and me keeping up with him, and that would have never happened before. And I can remember there were times when my kids were little, where I just didn't have the energy or the, you know, the fitness to keep up with them. And so, you know, that makes me sad. That's what triggered something for me. It made me sad. But now it's so different, because I know that I'm able to, you know, keep up with those grandkids. So it made a huge difference. It's also, when people talk to me as a runner, someone last night asked me a question about running, and I'm like, whoa, that's me. It's just that feeling of confidence that you've actually learned to do something by practicing, going out there, just doing it. And also it's the fact that the beauty about running is, even though I say it's good to do it with a buddy, you can totally do it on your own. So you can just be your own boss. You can go at whatever speed. Don't judge yourself against anybody else, or don't give yourself a hard time. Don't worry about what you look like. Just get out there and have fun. And it's something that you can do solo, which I think is beautiful about it. Definitely one of the things that attracted me. But it's turned me into someone with so much more confidence. And when I look at, I'm 66 now, and I look at the next 20 years, and I feel confident that I'm going to be able to, run 100 miles next February. I feel confident in myself that I can inspire others to just take those steps. And it's not about running those long distances. That's just something that happened. But it's about that very first start. Like I have a good friend who's now, ever since I first started talking to her about running, she runs 5K 3 times a week. That's it. That's all she does. She's very happy doing that. She never wants to do 10, 20, 30, but and she looks great because she's out there exercising, doing that 3 times a week.
Mm, very cool. So you're
Yeah.
in England, you do your first park run, you stop for a cuppa at the end of it, and they say, "Hey, half marathon." And you go, "Nah, nah, 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 nah." How the hell? I know this chat is about getting from the couch to the five, but where does your brain go to half marathon to 80K to 100K, and now you're going to do a 100 mile in February? What's the growth in you to
Uh,
get so outside your comfort zone and do that?
yeah. One step at a time. So there is a reason that those are in a progression. And so, each time I wanted to, I think an important point here is I'm not about speed. So some people do park run and every week they want to get a PB, right? And they want to get faster and faster. That is not me. I am your slow, steady person. So for me, my goals was to just stretch it to be longer and further. That was my goal, not faster.
Yep.
So I know there's probably people listening here who, you maybe remember back to when you did a 5K in, short 25 minutes or even less. That's not me. I just have liked to be able to take those steps and stretch myself. But
Yeah.
the other thing is to book them. So I don't book a lot of races, but I remember not long after that discussion with those people, someone showed me that there was a Surrey half marathon coming up. And remembering that we live in Australia, but I knew that we were going to be coming back to England the next year. And so I booked it. I booked that Surrey half marathon. And then I came back to Australia. And at that time, I actually didn't get a coach. So I just asked everybody. So anybody who had done any running, I'd say, so tell me, like what was the best advice that you could give someone who's going to do a half marathon? And I started putting that together and just working on it so that I was ready to go back to England the following year and run that half marathon. I remember running around Narrabeen Lake twice, which is about 18 kilometres. And someone had told me, if you can do 18, you can do 21. So I followed that advice and I did it before I left Australia to go back to England to do that half marathon. So yeah, and there's so much advice that you get from other people. Hydrating, I mean, it's more than just the regular drinking of water. You need to hydrate leading up and during and afterwards. So yeah,
Yeah.
so
So
much.
so we'll talk about hydration in a moment because I want to talk about the kind of your pre
Yeah,
and post kind of running. Um, so yeah, I've heard too, like, and I've done half marathons. On that time, I could only do a 10, they said, but the second 10 is mindset.
yeah, yeah.
How important is it to have a community around you to help encourage you? Like you joined a running club and got a coach to teach you how to, go those bigger distances. And I love that you weren't out to just beat your times. You just wanted to complete it. That was the winning for you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. 100%. And mindset is oh, look, when I did my first marathon, it was during COVID, and my coach had told me that around the 32 mark, that's when you'll need a hug from Neil at the aid station. which was a homemade aid station because it was during COVID, but not a too long a one, just a short one, enough to give you that little bit of a boost to keep you going.
Mm.
And so he'd already warned me about those things and, where I needed to, just get my mind right. And also just little techniques like going into sort of like a meditative state. I surprise myself. I don't listen to a lot of music at all when I'm doing races because I enjoy the community, the people around me, chatting to someone, inspiring someone else who looks like they're struggling a bit and giving them a bit of a hand.
Mm.
And then I'll just go into my own head. And, you can actually meditate while you're running. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
My
Yeah.
wife Alice does. She totally goes into that zone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. My brain's going, oh,
Yeah.
get me out of
And
here.
comparison is another, it's a huge thing. It's all in your head.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to run past people or you want to run alongside people or you want to run behind people? Are you going to get upset if you're feeling, like I remember on the Gold Coast once, and I had what I call hot foot syndrome. God knows that's my name for it, but my feet were really hot. And, I had to stop, stretch in the middle of a marathon. It was just crazy.
Mm.
But I just had to just go, hang on a minute, just get your head right, get your head right. Yeah, same. I just whizzed straight back to Kilimanjaro. There was a time in there when I just had to get my head right. I just had to absolutely get my mindset that I am going to be at the top of that mountain and nothing is going to stop me. And it's exactly the same scenario when you're running a 5K, because you might get to 2.5K. If there's a turnaround point, you might get to 2.5K and think, how am I going to run back? Well, walk back. It's okay. Don't compare yourself with anybody else out there.
Mm.
Just
I was going to say, is it a conversation you have in your head that says keep going? What is it when you say, you just kind of put it back there that you're going to get to the top of the mountain or you're going to do your marathon or your 80K or your 100K?
Yeah,
What's-
it's definitely all in my head. It is. So over the time, I've read books, I've listened to podcasts, I listen to audiobooks from other runners. Um, and I don't actually listen to those when I'm on a long run, but I go back to those messages,
Mm.
and just, yeah, it's definitely in my head. It's my own conversation with myself. And I've had times, hey, when I've compared myself, you feel like you're the end of I'm lost. With my running club, I used to never be up there with those fast ones, the young ones that used to,
Yeah.
especially the boys, the testosterone's going crazy and they're out the front. But I wouldn't be back there. I'd be in the middle. So you sort of get lost in the middle. So you go through this conversation. Why can't I keep up with them? But I don't necessarily want to hang back with them. And so there's all this stuff going on in your head. It's
Mm.
crazy, but you just have to manage it, learn to manage your mindset. Yeah.
Mm. When
That's
I
it.
when I coach people on my programs, I'm very much about doing, like you're saying, you're listening to podcasts, you're listening to books, you're doing lots of things in so that when you are set with a challenge, you hit a challenging kind of wall kicking moment, you've got a different default. So I think that's what you've done. Because you've put so much goodness in through the training part. When you do hit those moments, you've got a different default. Instead of the default, I'm just going to give up. You've got that's that grit. You've built the grit ready in
Yeah.
prevention.
Yeah. And something else I do. So I was just going to say my default is absolutely, I'm going to finish this.
Yeah.
And also I visualize that.
Mm.
So when I start a run of any sort, I visualize the whole thing. I visualize getting to the end. I visualize, the people along the way. But most importantly, I visualize that finish line running through.
Mm.
It's the most magical moment when you just run through that finish line,
Yeah.
whether it's a 5K or whether it's a 100K. It is, yeah, it's a beautiful moment. And if you visualized it already and it's like, wow, I'm actually living it now, I'm doing it now. Yeah.
Mm. Love it.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. I want to play the fast and fearless with you because I know you're up for it. I
Yeah.
want to do some rapid fire questions, which I think will fill in a few gaps with what you do. You
Yeah.
ready? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you said you don't listen to music while you are racing. However,
Yeah.
you listen to things when you're training. What's your
Yeah.
favorite running song or playlist? Or yeah,
Bruce Springsteen. Yeah. So Bruce Springsteen is my go-to man. I love his
any track in
music.
particular?
He absolutely fires me up. Light My Fire. Light My Fire.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and also Born to Run as well. And Tina Turner, Simply the Best
Love
is
it.
another one. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So when you first started running, was there a thing, an essential kind of thing that you did that helped make it easier?
Yeah, I have just a natural energy shot that I have before a race, and it's yeah, good quality energy. It's none of the nasties in it, and it gives me that pickup. And in the beginning, it was at the beginning of a run, and then as I got to my longer runs, it would be halfway through. So yeah, absolutely, 100%.
All right. What's your post-run treat?
Okay, a burger
Yeah.
is definitely a good. Just recently in New Zealand, I was looking for the veggie burger place and went and grabbed that, and also a protein shake. So you might not think that's a treat, but when you've run a long way, it is an absolute treat to have that beautiful quality protein and put that in your body. But both burger and shake.
Okay. I love the balance. All right. Do you prefer sunrise or sunset
Oh,
runs?
sunrise, 100%. Hate running at the end of the day. Don't have the same mojo, energy. Adore running early. The earlier, the better. Yeah.
Okay. What's one pre-run nutrition thing nowadays that makes a difference?
Okay.
You said about hydration or something before.
Yes, yes. So, hydrating prior to a race for like 4 or 5 days, not just right before the.
Okay.
And then during the race, obviously, it's really important to hydrate. And afterwards, it's so important. So people might think, you knock back a champagne to celebrate. Well, yeah, you can have one or maybe, but you need the water
Mhm.
and some sort of post-workout because, yeah, you need to replenish everything into your body. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you've got your set ones you use. All right.
Yeah.
What's one piece of running gear you can't live without?
Runners, run my
Good
my
shoes?
runners, my shoes, good shoes.
Yeah, okay.
I just and I go through a lot now. You don't realize how quickly they wear out when you're running long distance. So yes, good shoes is so important. Yeah.
All right. Have you got a brand you like the best? No, I know you're not sponsored by anyone, but is there anything you
No,
just go and get
I've
your feet checked to get the right ones?
yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I've moved from a couple, but at the moment I'm using Essex. So yeah.
Okay, cool. What feels better, crossing the finish line or that first coffee after a run?
Oh, I think I have to say crossing the finish line.
Yeah.
It's just the most amazing experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Every woman carries her wisdom differently. And so here you are at 66. What does it mean for you right now, being a wise woman? You talked about you're inspiring, other runners and you're always lifting people up when you're out there running and stuff. But right here, right now in today's world, as Grannybelle, as Heather the runner, what does it mean to you to be a wise woman?
Wow. I I want to leave this world a better place. So if I can inspire people to realize that it's never too late, that it is you can do whatever you want to do. I think for me, inspiring others and continuing to be inspired by inspiring others is what I'm all about. So I love that I'm able to do that for my grandchildren, but I also love to do that for other women who are, my age when I started running, and to see them be able to feel the way I feel. And the world is full of so many distractions, and if we can just bring it in close and create our community and be around like-minded people and support each other, lift each other up. That's what it feels like. It feels an honor to be able to help other people to live a healthier, a strong, fit, and healthy life, moving from 50 to 60 to 70 to 80, to 100. Yeah.
Love it. What is the most important thing we haven't talked about yet that we should talk about? What have I
Oh,
missed?
I think knowing, if you're thinking about getting out there and walking or running, know what it's going to do for your body. So I have had the best body I've ever had at 50 plus. So how amazing is that? I've gone through having two daughters, through all the things that younger women go through, but then I got into my 50s. I definitely wasn't feeling right, and now I am. So I think it is about, when you make the choice whether to get up off the couch and start moving and then start running, know that it's just one step at a time. It's moving one step forward, as I have through my journey of increasing the distance. And it gives you so much for the future, because your body is going to be so much healthier, and your mind, your brain. I want to do everything to protect my brain going into the future. And I've read a lot recently, and the research around doing regular exercise. So it's not about competing with someone else. It's not about looking good. It's about being able to be around. One thing that I often do is I think of my grandchildren, or I suggest other people do the same. In 10 years' time, they're going to be turning, 18. I want to be that Grannybelle at that party, partying with them. And so what I do today is going to make a difference for that 10-year mark. So I think that when you're hesitating, or you're, sitting back and just feeling like it's wet outside, or it's too cold, or my mate didn't turn up, then just future pace yourself. Think about 10 years' time and the difference it's going to make over those 10 years. Yeah. Me, as you've pointed out, I'm a different woman than I was 8 years ago, sitting outside that first park run. And I think that I hate to say that it's not that hard, because I'm sure for some people listening to this, it may feel hard. But if you take it one step at a time and you do all the right things, you get the right nutrition in your body, you get the right hydration in your body, you take it little by little, as I said before, you're just doing run, walk, run, walk, run, walk, then you're going to begin to enjoy it. So if you hate it in the beginning, that's okay, because at some stage you're going to really enjoy it. And I often say I never, ever come home from a run disappointed that I did it, ever. Even when I've fallen over and, grazed myself or done damage, I still am proud that I've gone out there and given it a go. Yeah.
I love it. Love it. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self as the wise 66-year-old woman today, what would you say to her?
I would say have more courage and believe in yourself more than I did then. I've spent a lot of my years doubting myself. And so self-doubt is the thing that holds us back. And so if you can push through that self-doubt, then the courage comes. And it takes courage to push through. It takes courage to take that step. And that step may not be with someone else. It might be on your own. But have the courage to take that first step. That's what I'd say to myself. And funnily enough, when you say that, I did. I left England at 18. I left England and moved to New Zealand, and a lot of young 18-year-olds would never do that. So I did have courage, but I carried through those years with a lot of self-doubt and desperately wanting people to like me. And I now have realized that, hey, I'm okay. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. So I know there's going to be some people listening to this who will think, I want to get my ass off the couch and
Mhm.
give a 5K, try running, run a walk, whatever. You've got an ebook, a free ebook, which
Yes,
gives
I do.
your steps on how you help people to do exactly that.
Yeah, I actually researched what are the main reasons, what are the struggles that people have to run. So why, rather than looking at the things that we need to do, from my perspective, I looked at what do people struggle with. Things like finding the time, not putting yourself first, comparison, finding a running buddy, the times when you just don't want to do it. So all of those things, and I've just worked on some simple answers, like real quick read, easy answers. When you're feeling like that and you haven't got that motivation, then that there's some answers in there. So yeah, I've had fun doing it, and I've really gone in the direction of what are the things that stop us and how can I help people to move through those with courage.
I love it.
Yeah.
So how do people find you? Oh, we'll put a link in the show notes, but otherwise, what if they find you on Facebook? And I know you're an active Facebook chick. So
Yeah, absolutely. Search for
Heather
me.
Rickard on Facebook.
Yeah, I come up pretty high there, so you will find me on there, and you'll always see a few running photos and all of that kind of stuff on there. I'm also going to have a link that will be to my ebook, so that you can grab that. And I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn, so wherever you'll find me pretty easily. Yeah.
All right. So check out Heather Rickard and just know that she's also known. Send her a message and say, Grannybelle, help me run. I love it.
Yes. And if you're a grandparent, think about, what your grandchildren are going to be doing in 10 years' time, and that you want to be around, feeling strong, fit, and healthy to be with them. Yeah.
I love it. Granny Bell, thank you. I know you've inspired some amazing women. You inspire me. It's truly, you really do. I'm so proud of knowing your journey. So thank you for sharing today.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you for having me on here. I feel very honored to be one of the first on your podcast. Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you. See ya.